with Julio and Ridley and Pitts and Matt Ryan and OB. I gotta do everything but da. I don't know if you've been watching the games, but the Super Bowl window for the Falcons is kind of shut. All right, guys. So excuse me here. Raven reaction is coming soon. Raven reaction is coming soon. That the plan was to record it tonight, but of course, this one big event in the sports world occurred, the NFL draft, and some things happened. And I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't because it goes against the whole thing. Just to give you guys a heads up, I do watch sports other than basketball, and I didn't think it would still linger on this long because I knew I was going to go on a couple of live streams and stuff and live shows and have to do other stories and everything like that surrounded around the draft and stuff. So I didn't think that I need to come on my own channel to continue to get some of that out. I reached out to a couple friends. I was like, hey, you want to hop on Zoom so you kind of air our grievances? One, his wife was sleeping. You know how that is. He couldn't wake up the wife. The other one, he was on the clock too. He was working. He was kind of watching the Slack. So I just decided, we're gonna do it anyway. I got off a little steam in a friend's live stream on Facebook and stuff like that. Shout out to Nate Butler. Subscribe to him. Find his channel and all that good stuff if you can find it. If I can find it myself, once I'm editing this and uploading this, I will make sure I will include his channel link in the description. He does like live Madden tournaments and stuff like that, and he just talks a lot of Falcons football. If you are new to this channel, by the way, because this is a whole new demographic I'm reaching into, this is the roast to 2K subs. Let's get into it. Okay, I'll start off from the top. The Jacksonville Jaguars take an unnecessarily long time, 10 minutes, to draft Trevor Lawrence, the pick who was the pick since he was 17 years old. Speaking of 17 years old, keep that in mind. Trevor Lawrence, we all knew he was the number one pick since he was 17 years old. Follow with me. Number 2 happens. We've known for a couple of months now that it was probably going to be Zach Wilson. It's a bit kind of okay. He's a great athlete, great quarterback, great film, great stats. Okay. Number 2 to New Jersey, New York with the Jets. Number 3. This is a little surprising. People are like, is it going to be Justin Fields or Mac Jones? And it's Trey Lance. It's Trey Lance. But that's still another guy you're like, okay, great athlete, great quarterback. He kind of fits the mold of what people are really looking for in a quarterback these days. So then that leads you to pick number 4, which what this video is about. Excuse me, I got tongue-tied. I'm so upset. Pick number 4 with what this video is about. You got a kid who is from about 25 minutes north of Atlanta, Georgia. In his living room, about 30 minutes north of Atlanta, with his family. And he was like, all right, I might go top 3. All right, it is what it is. If they go Wilson number 2, I might go number 3. He slips to 4. And you go with Kyle Pitts. And one thing I'm going to say about Kyle Pitts, I'm going to make sure this is straightened out from here. This is not a Kyle Pitts rant. Kyle Pitts, everything they said, he's a great athlete, has the potential to be an NFL all-time great. You talk about the Rob Gronkowskis, you talk about the Travis Kelce's, you talk about the Antonio Gates, you talk about the Tony Gonzalez's. Excuse me. This kid is cut from the same cloth as those guys. Amazing athlete, crazy length, crazy this, crazy catching ability. He could do this, he can do that, he can do anything on the field. This is nothing against him. I'm sure he's going to be a great ball player. But when you have a guy, and people say, but they already have a quarterback. They already have Matt Ryan. Okay. This is not an indictment against Matt Ryan. I have said multiple times before, you could look it up on the internet. Matt Ryan is the greatest quarterback in Atlanta Falcons franchise history. Hands down, the greatest quarterback in franchise history. He's been the quarterback for 12 years now. And then you're going on year 13. And then you also have this guy, Julio Jones, over there. And he's in trade rumors now. He is, has been the best wide receiver in the world for some time now. And people can argue it now because he's a little on the older side. But he's still been the best wide receiver in the world for some time now. Okay. You also have a guy named Calvin Ridley, a guy named Hayden Hurst. Anyways, I say all that to say this. The reason why you would even consider a quarterback right now is not because of right now, but because of the future. So you have a quarterback who can sit, who has no pressure to go in there, be thrown out to the wolves in 2-3 years, right? 2-3 years, the final 2-3 years of Ryan's contract, whenever Ryan decides to hang it up. Or if he just wants to still be in the league, but be a mentor. Be a backup, hold the clipboard, and let the younger kids have it. Regardless of what he wants to do, you draft a quarterback now. And you're in a position in a draft with some pretty darn special quarterbacks. And the top two just happen to be from Metro Atlanta. From the time that they were 17. Now we're going back to the 17. I'm connecting the dots now. Stay with me. I know I'm taking a little long to get into my point here. Since they were 17, it was 1A and 1B. Trevor Lawrence from Cartersville and this Justin Fields kid from Kennesaw. After the college football playoff, it was still, for the most part, number 1, Trevor Lawrence, number 2, Justin Fields. In the middle of that was some talking heads who, my colleague over there at Atlanta Sports Unlimited eloquently pointed out of, just the talking heads and getting into the minds of people of, this kid doesn't have the intangible, this kid, things with no validity are going against, some TikToks or, like the fact that this kid, has, he doesn't have to clean his mouth and so on. So he was an 18 kid. He was a 19-year-old kid. We're looking at talent of a quarterback. How about freaking the number 1 pick not even being that passionate about football, just being great at football, but being so passionate about the most thing he's most passionate about is his faith. And he's like, if the Lord comes over and he sends me a message to drop the helmet right now and follow him and go on these missionary trips or mission trips for the rest of my life and spread the gospel around the globe, I will do that. All due respect, all love, Jesus is the best, right? God is the greatest. Why the heck was that not questioned? The fact that he said he's okay with walking away from the game of football. Why was that not questioned? But this kid, who doesn't have the cleanest just track record for 19, 20, however old Justin Fields is now, 21-year-old, it's a problem. So he's not focused on the game of football because he makes TikToks. But this kid over here has said on record, I could drop and quit football if I want to tomorrow. My biggest thing in life is getting people to Jesus, not playing football. What's the difference here between these two? These two dudes have grown up, and as I was talking to Jeremy Johnson earlier, but before we got on, Jeremy couldn't come on, but as I was talking to Jeremy Johnson, the great UGA recruiting writer over there for Athens Banner Herald over there in Georgia, former Falcon reporter for Sports Illustrated, as I was talking to him earlier, he was just telling me, like, every single time those two faced off, Fields has outperformed Trevor Lawrence. He's saying he's not saying that Trevor Lawrence, he's better than Trevor Lawrence because he still believes Trevor Lawrence is better than Justin Fields. But where is the gap here? And all due respect to Wilson and Lance, like I say, great athleticism, great quarterback attributes from both of those guys. Where the heck did a dude from I don't even you don't want to call BYU a mid major, but a non-power 5 conference school like BYU and an FCS school like North Dakota State. Where the heck did those two jokers jump ahead of someone who went to Ohio State and UGA? How did we let this happen? Justin Fields slipped out of the top 10. How did we let this happen? Atlanta, Georgia, I'm back on you now. So you got a kid right there, right? Because you got this Kyle Pitts. Great pick, great athlete, generational talent. Who the heck is going to throw the ball? You know who the Atlanta Falcons backup quarterbacks are? Let me just give you. It is nobody. It's nobody. Matt Schaub retires. Ben Kurt is waived. Ben Kurt is waived. All right. Yeah, you only have one quarterback on the roster. He's north of 35 years old. Or he's getting there if he's not there already. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? And then because you're gonna find yourself sooner or later in a position like like your team over there in New Orleans, the Aints. You're gonna find yourself in the same position, right? Because even if Matt performs well until 42, 43, whatever, like you say, quarterback years, you still need someone who's gonna come behind them. The Super Bowl window. Anyways, going back, I'm all over the place now. I'm all over the place. It is what it is. It's all over the place. Julio Jones, the reason why you trade Julio Jones and get value out of him now, the only reason why you would keep Julio Jones is to say thank you for everything you've done. You are the greatest receiver in franchise history, one of the greatest receivers to ever live. That's why you would keep Julio Jones on the roster. To say that. But this idea that a lot of Falcons fans have with Julio and Ridley and Pitts and Matt Ryan and OB, you're going to do everything but da-da-da-da. I don't know if you've been watching the games, but the Super Bowl window for the Falcons is kind of shut. About 3 years ago, it's over with for the Falcons. For these group of Falcons, it is over with. There is no Super Bowl in the Matt Ryan, Julio Jones era. That is why you are open to trading Julio Jones. That is why you are open to drafting a quarterback in the top 5 when you have a top 5 pick and such a gifted quarterback draft at the top. And you had a chance to get the second best one. He slipped to 4. The other 2 picks, they passed up on him. And he's from Atlanta. The city would have got behind him. They would have got behind him more than any other quarterbacks. This is a man who wore number 7. You might have heard of him. His name is Michael Vick. And you pass up on him for a tight end. Another wide receiver, another receiving option for the Atlanta Falcons. You had arguably some of the best wide receiver corps in the NFL for the greater part of the past decade. That's not even arguable. That's not even arguable. They've had some of the best receiving corps in the league for the greater part of the past decade. With Julio Jones in the middle of that, they started the decade off with Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez. Julio comes in the picture. They dominate. Okay, then Roddy White retires. Tony Gonzalez retires. Now it's just Julio, but Julio's matched up with Sanu and Julio and Tolulo and Tolo and all these guys and Austin and blah, 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 blah. The Falcons have always been in a discussion for best receiving corps with Julio Jones at the middle of it. And then Calvin Ridley comes in, he rips it, and he's doing a great job and everything like that. I just don't get it. That's not the problem. That's not the problem. You You could put up 1,000,000,000 points. Matt Ryan could throw for 700, 800 yards. When his arm falls off in 2 years, who's going to come up for him? And if you're losing right now while you're throwing for 700, 800 yards to Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones, does it matter if you're losing? Does it matter if you go 8-9 in a 17-game season? Doesn't matter. That is what I'm asking you. Doesn't matter when you go 8-9 for the next 2 years? 2-3 years? That reminds me of another team I saw in the NFC South. Over there in New Orleans again. Those dang Aints. Their 40-year-old quarterback is throwing his arm off, throwing his shoulder off, throwing 800, 900-yard games to one of the best receivers, or at least they tell me, the slashy guy, the Michael Thomas, right? He's been doing that for the last couple of years, and where has it been getting them? 500 seasons, just above 500, go to the playoffs, lose in one game in the playoffs, might win one game, then lose in the second game in the playoffs, not even contending for a Super Bowl championship here. And you sign Jameis Winston and you bring in Teddy Bridgewater, but you can't keep Teddy Bridgewater, and you just end up with Winston, and now you're just like, well, he hangs it up, he calls it quits, he calls it a career, and you're kind of just like, well, Jameis, I hope you're as good as you told those kids you are. And you're hoping and you're crossing your fingers that Jameis Winston is good enough. But you didn't even have enough faith in that joker because you playing a whole wide receiver at quarterback when Drew Brees is out last season. So what does that tell me? That's not a good look for those Aints. I don't know about those Aints. And you saw that firsthand. That's your divisional rival. You see him 2 times a year, so you know what's going on over there. And your GM just came from them, right? He just came from New Orleans. So you already know what's going on. I see the Atlanta Falcons going down the same path of their arch nemesis over there in New Orleans, Louisiana. They saw it happen. They saw the deterioration of that franchise from one of the better NFC teams in the NFC. I don't get it. You saw it happen for yourself with Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is Julio Jones. Julio Jones way better. Anyway, Michael Thomas, Julio Jones, and Drew Brees playing the role of Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan going to throw for 800 yards a game to these jokers, to Kyle Pitts, and to Julio Jones, and to Calvin Ridley. And it's not going to mean a dang thing because the team isn't good. The defense is still non-existent. And you can't afford to sign anybody else because Julio and Matt Ryan are taking up $1 gajillion. My thing is, this is all I'm saying in closing. We're wrapping it up. The doors of the church are open. The window has closed for the Atlanta Falcons to win a Super Bowl. It's over with. It's done. So yes, I'm on the bandwagon of you draft for the future today. And all the fans and stuff, if you draft if you draft Fields, the second Matt Ryan throws an interception, the city's going to be calling for Fields to come in the game. So what? You don't want to split the locker room. You don't want half the people to believe in Fields. You don't want half the locker room to believe in Matt Ryan. Guess what? So what? Either way, these guys are not winning a championship anytime soon. So why not have a guy sit behind some of the greatest to do it in franchise history, watch them firsthand, see how they conduct themselves, see what to do, what to read, get a first row seat to watch this. Which goes back to Green Bay with Brett Favre over there and Aaron Rodgers. That's the perfect example, perfect thing. I just don't get it. I just don't get it, man. But I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Another part. If you want a guy like Kyle Pitts, because he's generational and once in a lifetime, I don't know if you guys know, but there is this kid who is the most highly rated prospect to ever come out of the state of Georgia. He was on the Sports Illustrated cover with someone who my channel was pretty synonymous with. A girl named Paige Beckers. He went to LSU, All SEC as a 19-year-old freshman. It's pretty good. He's been called Baby Gronk since he was 16 years old. And he's from Metro Atlanta. The same place that Justin Fields is from. Cobb County, Tucker, Georgia, wherever you want to claim him. He's from East Atlanta. Got recruited to go over to Marietta High School in Cobb County and finished his career off there and won a state championship to end his career and a national championship, Geico National Championship. His name is Eric Gilbert, man. He's generational talent, everything that they're saying about this Kyle Pitts kid right now. If you get Fields now, and he sits a couple of years, the Atlanta Falcons are going to be bad. They're going to continue to be bad. Don't worry about that. You could be bad enough to the time Eric Gilbert gets out, and you can get yourself that generational tight end talent, and he's a hometown kid, and you can build your franchise around two hometown kids, Justin Fields and Eric Gilbert. They could build a chemistry up. Just seems too good to be true, doesn't it? But that's it. I'm wrapping up. I didn't want to go too long. I know I've already gone too long, but it is what it is. I had to get it off my chest. I had to let off all that steam because I just would have went to bed angry. I would have went to bed. Got to take off my glasses so you can see my face. That's how I would have went to bed. So I couldn't go to bed on that note. I had to get it out in this video, so I'm so glad that you guys have stuck this far. If you made it this far, you are a real one. This is the road to 2K subs. If you are new to the channel, make sure you wash your hands, wear your mask, save 6 feet so that we might see, I don't know, NFL season with fans. I know they've already kind of opened it back up, but it is what it is, man. Chicago, the fact that he even slipped out of the top 10 and went to the 11th pick is ridiculous. NFL teams, get it together. What are we doing here? Justin Fields, Chicago Bears got the steal of the draft. They made up for their wrongs in 2017 when they passed off on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, the one that everybody kills him about, Mitch Trubisky. You made up for it. Congratulations to the Chicago Bears, excuse me. A top 2 talent, you got him at number 11. And he's going to be a pretty good quarterback. It's not going to be another quarterback that good in a while. I saw some of the quarterbacks or whatever, they were like top quarterback prospects coming out in 2022. Yeah, this was your best chance to get a good quarterback for, I say, probably about 3-4 years. So, there it is. Congratulations, you did it. That's it, though. I'm out of here. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, guys.